Don't buy crappy businesses. In this video, I'll be talking about why you only want to buy high quality businesses and you want to stay far away from businesses which are crappy. So I say this tongue in cheek, but also I say this seriously, that the 95% of the businesses which are out there for sale and on the market are actually crappy businesses to buy. Now, I'm not crapping on all businesses. What I'm saying is that a lot of those businesses are fantastic for the owners who are operating them right now and the people that own them right now. However, a prospect for sale, a business which for sale needs to go through a certain preparation process, and it needs to have certain qualities for it to be a good business acquisition. So when you're looking to buy a business, you need to make sure that it's a good prospect for acquisition, not just as an opportunity for the person who's currently owning it right now. So what do I mean by a crappy business? A business which is crappy for this video is a business which is either distressed or it's doing less than 100,000 in profit. And I'm talking about net profit, not EBITDA here, because there's a lot of businesses which have 100,000 in EBITDA, but the net profit is lower because there's other considerations. Any business which is distressed. Now, there are other people who can tell you to buy a distressed business, but if you're watching this channel, stay away from distressed businesses. And distressed businesses, what are they? Firstly, number one, distressed businesses are those businesses which don't have enough cash to cover their liabilities, and that happens regularly. And a business which is distressed is a disaster waiting to happen. If you're going to buy one of those businesses, then you need to be really, really confident that you're able to turn it around very, very quickly. And that's only for very, very good, experienced operators and business buyers. But generally, you want to stay away from those businesses. I run a mile from them anytime I see them. I also run a mile from any business which is doing less than 100,000 in profit. And the reason for that is that it's just not enough meat on the bone to go in and then buy that business. There's a lot of problems which come with businesses which are doing less than 100,000 in profit, which I'll outline now. So the first problem with a business which is a crappy business, which is doing less than 100,000 in profit, is that it's too owner reliant. Very, very rarely would you find a business which is doing less than 100,000 in profit, which is not owner reliant. And if you do find a business which is doing less than 100,000 in profit or below, and it's got no owner reliance, then maybe you want to take a look at that. But they're so far and few between that as soon as you see a business which is doing less than 100K in profit, 6 figures in profit, you're going to see that the owner's in there day in, day out, doing the grind and running the business. Now, why is that a problem for you as a business buyer? Because when a person is selling their business, generally speaking, 90% of the time, the owner wants to leave the business and they want to retire from the business or they want to start a new venture. So you're not going to be taking on a business with the owner staying there forever. Now, they might stay for a short amount of time, and I would actually advise against that. But the owner reliance is just too high for a buyer to come in and to buy that business and to have any genuine or good success. Unless, again, you've got a very, very good plan when you're going in. So stay away from a business which has got too much owner reliance. The other problem with the business which is either distressed or has less than 100K in profit is that there's no systems in place. So you need to have good processes around your business to ensure that it runs without an owner being there, without the manager being there. So if, for example, the owner steps away from the business for a long period of time, I don't mean for a short period of time, someone can go on holiday for 2 weeks and it's perfectly fine. I'm talking about a long period of time. Would the business be able to continue without the owner? Is all of the information about the business in the mind of the owner, in the head of the owner, or is it written down on a piece of paper? And is that shared with the team? Is the team able to access it? Do they use it? All of that is around the processes that surround that business. So a business which is doing less than 100,000 in profit, generally speaking, they may have a few systems, but they don't have a system of running the entire business. And when you're buying a business with good processes in place always helps you when you are going in as a new owner to see how the business is running. The other problem with buying a business which is less than 100K in profit and a crappy business is that there's no predictable, generally speaking, there's no predictable marketing function in the business. Now, to get new business, you need to be promoting the business. A lot of these businesses which have been around and they're doing small amount of profit, they are relying on word of mouth. And again, that's great for the person who's currently owning the business. They are, getting 6 figures a year in their pocket, whether that's SDE or whether that's actually through their dividends. That's fine for them. But when you take over the business, it's not going to look the same. So therefore, the predictable marketing is really, really important to ensure that you get a new rotation of customers as your old customers leave the business, because you'll always have customers which leave a business for one reason or the other. So no predictable marketing, and sometimes no predictable sales. One thing that every business would have is fulfillment. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in business, of course. But sometimes the marketing and the sales process is just not working properly, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that the business is not going to be a good acquisition. The next thing about buying a crappy business, or a business which is either distressed or doing less than 100,000 in profit, it's really hard to get financing to buy that business. So unless you've got cash in your pocket and you want to make your first acquisition through 20, 30, 50, 100k savings or something like that, plus you've got some other people who want to pull together, you won't be able to find any serious financer who's willing to back a business which is doing such small numbers. Why? Because financiers want to allocate their money to, they'd rather allocate a larger amount of money than a small amount of money to make a return on that. So getting financing for a small business is always going to be a challenge. And that's not good for acquisitions, of course, because majority of acquisitions have some level of financing when you go in for acquisition. The other problem with buying a business which is really small, either distressed or doing a less than 100k profit, a crappy business, is that you'll end up buying yourself a job. What's the point of going in and buying a job? It's funny, I was speaking to a business seller. It was some weeks ago, I can't remember. And the business was doing close to 1 million in revenue, in turnover. However, the profitability was so small. It was like something like 30,000 and hardly no profits in the business. And if I was to buy that business, or if anyone who's going to buy that business, they're going to have to do so much work in there to get that business profitability up, maybe do some restructuring, but also they'll be just buying themselves a job. Now, unless you want to go in and you want to be an owner operator, and therefore you want to go and be there day to day and run that business day to day, that's fine. But for most people who are buying businesses, it's more of a hands-off investment, right? It's more of a hands-off investment. So don't buy yourself a job if you're going in like that. Now, again, if you want to be an owner operator, you don't want to start a business, you want to go in and you want to have a business which has got some track record and then go in and run that, that's fine. So this is for some people and not for others. But generally speaking, you don't want to buy yourself a job. Now, the other thing is that when you're buying a distressed business, you're going to have to inject some financing in there to ensure that you can cover the liabilities. And that means you need additional funds available, and you don't know actually how much funds are available. I was listening to a very respectable person who works in private equity, and what he was saying is that on a weekly basis they were injecting tens of thousands to keep a distressed business that they purchased running. And then they realized after 6 months, they can't do anything, so therefore they just let the business go. Don't be in that position. Don't buy a distressed business, because it's just going to cause more problems. When there's so much opportunity out there, so many businesses for sale, good businesses for sale, and good business opportunities which are not for sale but you can buy them, then why would you go and buy a bad business? So the alternative is that buy a good, profitable business which has been around for a long time. That will ensure that when you are making that acquisition, you are saving yourself from so many problems and so much headache and sometimes heartache, depending on how involved you are in the acquisition. You're buying a good, profitable business is going to save you from all of that, and you'll be able to start making profits from day one. I'll make another video on how you can get paid from buying businesses. So I will see you in the next video.